All right, welcome back to episode 6 of the We Rock podcast.
We're 6.
We're 6. We're over the 5 mark, which we keep saying that every week. I don't know that it really makes any difference. We're going to keep doing.
Said it would fail after one.
It doesn't
to
mean
the naysayers, I say just hang on.
It doesn't mean it hasn't failed. It just means we keep recording and putting it out there.
Yeah, they can't stop that. They can't.
No, they can't. No, I mean, absolutely not.
We have the soapbox here.
I'm getting a soapbox for when we record at SMBA. We're going to have an actual soapbox to sit on. We got to figure out how we're doing that. That needs to be a discussion actually as well. Can we do this as a mobile thing? Just record in like one of the golf carts going around the park.
I think there should definitely be a segment for that.
Or even better, let's just record the whole thing poolside.
Yeah, totally unedited. It runs through.
Yep.
I mean, if you got it anywhere like 6 hours to kill in your day, that's the episode.
You're going to get the audio in the background of the kids jumping around somewhere back there. Somebody's like, I told you to quit doing that.
And you might learn something along the way too. You never know.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, that could be rather entertaining. So,
that one would have to have the explicit content warning though.
It's there's a few people that we might have on at some point in time that we're going to have to go ahead and do that anyway. But it is what it is. I mean, it's not fun otherwise.
Yeah.
So,
well, how's things going on in College Station?
Man, things are going pretty well. It's drying out finally. The weather's always the big issue, but we're finally drying out and getting to that place where we can see straight. So getting stuff out. We got a piece out on campus this week or today that needed to go back. So, and then they're actually right now they're finishing up stuff before they leave and repairing the sandblast pots. And man, I swear, we put more holes in them sandblast pots than I care to admit to. I feel like I'm constantly fixing little parts here and there and stuff.
Don't sandblast the pot.
Man, that's. And I know what it is. It's we're actually running probably too high a pressure through the pot, and it's blowing out.
What are you running?
Some of the fittings. I'm afraid to tell you. So we plug into a 185 bumper pool.
Okay.
Without a regulator.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's not ideal.
Right. You can only blow a balloon up so much before it pops.
It's pretty aggressive. It works and it cuts. It still cuts pretty well. Mm-hmm. It's not efficient, and we know that. But I think I saw Clinton Hadjack out of Bronzeville posted a picture, shared a picture with me or whatever, and he's got a regulator he built that's got a crow's foot that he connects right at the pot. Mm-hmm. And I saw that and I go, I'm going to build one of those because I think that's a great way, especially like if you're doing final dates or something like that. Because that's what we pull for final dates is that 185. Again, not efficient, but it beats buying another compressor.
Right.
For now.
Well, it's only money though.
Yeah, you can't take it with you. So finally catching up on some of that stuff, getting that stuff knocked out. I've got a lot of stuff outside that's fixing to get sandblasted and moved. So things are moving well. How about y'all? Y'all doing all right over there?
Oh, one day we'll look like we're going to start drying out, and then the next we're not. And it's always one of those that you are continuously playing phone tag with your customers, saying, "Hey, I told you we was going to set that today."
Yeah.
Can we push that back a couple of days?
We had one interesting yesterday, the day before. I don't remember what day it was, but it was a tall stone with a narrow footprint for the base. So this thing's 6'6" tall, and
oh wow,
I think it's 3.5 foot wide. anyways, so we got a monster pennant and everything. It's beautiful stone. And the customer had purchased um, a little rock to go in front of it. It's nothing crazy. It's a river rock, about 10 inches. And we sandblasted some penguins into it for her. Okay. It just sits right in front of it. There's not a foundation underneath it. It sits there in the grass in front of the monument. The penguins mean something to her. It's their little thing. Okay. Guys left the cemetery. They no sooner pull up into the driveway, and the owner of the cemetery calls me up and says, did your guys leave a boulder in front of the stone?" It's a 10-inch river rock. But yeah, sure, we left a boulder in front of the stone. And when he was calling asking for it, I immediately knew what he was trying to get at, which was it doesn't fit within their restrictions. Right. Yep. So I took the quick opportunity to say, well, we left that there for the family to pick up.
There you go.
And now the family's going, what do? I wanted that out there. And, it's stupid rules. I don't understand. That's what we're dealing with now. Stupid rules. Well, why? Why is this a thing? I don't understand. Why are we worried about this?
And I wish more cemeteries would try to find that fine balance of, of course you have to have rules in the cemetery just to prevent it from being the lawless Wild West out there.
Well, right. I mean, you don't want the trash rolling around, and I understand all that too. But it is a stone. It's not a Hot Wheel.
Oh yeah.
And I like the Hot Wheels at the monuments. The family brings them out for the kids and puts it. It's not an empty beer bottle.
Right.
And how many of those you seen?
Between the empties and the fulls.
Yeah, and I've seen those in nice cemeteries, not just the freebie cemeteries. So it's out of those people are out of control to me, I guess, and it may be overstepping my bounds a little bit. There's something to be said about taking care of a family because it's the right thing to do, and there's something to be said about doing it.
Right.
No, that's what we're dealing with now. Just kind of doing that kind of stuff, but it's his life nowadays. So, but no, we had on the personal side, we finally had a trip. I tell you what, we went to this cool place. And I've been there before, but went to a place called La Cantera in San Antonio. It's over, Six Flags over there. So it is literally next door to Six Flags. So if you get on the right side of the hotel, at night, you can sit out on your balcony and watch the fireworks show from Six Flags. But I mean, beautiful place. This is a place where if we could convince people to spend a little bit more money for a room, because we're going to be in the neighborhood of, I don't know, $300 a night, which is pricey, for convention, regional convention, I guess.
Right.
But if we can convince people to go there, this place is awesome. Great place for the kids. Great restaurants there. Great shopping around, but huge facility for us to have the convention. If we wanted to do a full display there, we could. It's big enough for it.
That'd be great.
But
I'd be excited to have a convention in San Antonio because, like we'd said in an earlier episode, that would finally be my opportunity to have my own personal tour guide at the Alamo.
Absolutely. I mean, there might be a guy out of like Waxahachie or something like that.
Waxahachie or one of those places.
Yeah, one of those places there that knows something that happened on the Alamo. I'm not really sure. I can't really remember anything about it. You're supposed to remember something about the Alamo.
When did Daniel Crockett or I don't know.
Daniel Crockett. But no, that place is really cool. I think SMBA, MBNA, AICA, something. Pick your random acronym and insert it here. Would be a great place to have a convention out there for people. I think they'd have a really good.
And what was the name of that place again?
It's La Cantera.
Okay.
In San Antonio.
Not to be confused with the La Quinta, right?
No, not. There's not a Denny's next door. So
I was always told that's what La Quinta meant in Spanish.
That's exactly what it means, isn't it? Next to Denny's.
for for those that don't get that reference, next time you see a La Quinta,
look next door,
left or right, it's there.
Yeah, and often same parking lot. However, here's my while if we're gonna go down this road and talk about hotels and breakfast restaurants, I have a huge beef. This is one of the few things that irritates me about where I live in Texas. And East Texas not an issue, Central Texas problem, and that is the lack of Waffle Houses. If you drive from your shop to Elberton, once you get past Monroe, Louisiana,
okay,
nearly every exit from there to Elberton has a Waffle House. Nearly every one of them. And this is fine dining at its best. I mean, where else can you go where you don't have to walk to your seat? You automatically glide by design.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and often whenever you're in there, it's dinner and a show.
Oh, exactly. And you know what? I mean, they pre-seasoned every plate there.
Oh yeah,
every plate. I mean, they don't wash them. But that's how you season it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because I actually rather it's one of my little what do they call them? Guilty pleasures. I enjoy it. And for some reason, their black coffee tastes better than other places.
Seasoned cups.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know what crack was put in there before that somebody brought in their own, but it was good stuff. So, how about you? What have you been up to?
Oh, last week I took my family on a little trip as well.
Oh yeah,
we went up to Chirac, Chicago. Nah, I don't know if you're aware or not, but I'm sort of a baseball fan. So
a baseball fan.
Uh-huh.
I don't.
We're talking baseball. Talking baseball. The man and Bobby Fella, the scooter.
Look, if you don't know this song, you're not actually a baseball fan.
They knew them all from Boston to Dubuque.
And what's great is, we can talk sports. I love football myself as well, but I grew up on baseball. Baseball's my pastime. But you tell me how many sports out there have this many or have that many songs written about them? Like here's one.
Oh yeah, center field.
Yeah. You just don't have that's the thing is baseball has more songs about it than any other sport.
Oh,
so anyways, you went up to Chi-Town.
Yep.
You cheered on the White Sox.
I did. I went and watched the White Sox at their field on the south side of Chicago.
And you got shot?
No, didn't hear a gunshot while I was there. Although I got there Memorial Day weekend and pulled up a headline a couple of days later, and it's like over Memorial Day weekend, 52 shot, 11 dead.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it is. It's a sad thing.
It is.
However, we joke about it just because I can't do anything about it, and I hate that for those people. It's a tough thing, and I'm not going to get into the politics of it or anything. But
right.
Well, we talk about 52 shot here. It's that we're going. Did you get your bag limit on your deer? And I need to see your license.
and it's a shame because Chicago really is a beautiful city.
That is actually on my bucket list to go to. I want to go to Chicago. I want to. The architecture there is amazing.
It is,
and then.
Well, and of course, my main draw for being there was the two ballparks that were there, and of course, we went and watched a Cubs game as well at Wrigley. Which
because aren't you on aren't you trying to hit every ballpark? Isn't that what I think you're trying to do?
The goal is to hit all 30, which means got to get out to Oakland soon because they're about to move.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a nicer ballpark when they move to Vegas.
But I still want to go see the Coliseum, be one of the tens of fans out there. It'd be fun. It may cost you more in a pair of socks than the tickets. Oh yeah, no, but I mean,
Chi-Town's Chi-Town's one of those places I want to go to. I want to go to.
If you ever do make it up there, one of the first things you need to do before you start exploring the city is you need to do one of the riverboat architecture tours.
Really? I did that in San Antonio, riverboat architecture tour. Same thing.
buildings are a little taller.
Yeah, but there's not
And-
senorita. I bet there's not senoritas dancing on the side of the river.
Whenever I got there was, surprisingly. Because whenever I got there, they were just wrapping up a big Latin music festival down there.
way.
Oh
What
yeah,
are the odds?
oh yeah. No, like I get up there to Chicago and I'm seeing a bunch of Hispanic people walking around in cowboy hats, and I'm like, did the plane turn around?
you're like, it's the Chulo convention. Like, okay, some of y'all are not going to get that. If you grew up in South Houston, you know what I'm talking about, and they're the greatest people ever, and it is phenomenal. So yeah, no, that's a great group of people. And if you want food, they'll make it. And when I'm talking food, I mean, if you don't know what actual barbacoa is, you don't know what Mexican food is. Just telling you.
Oh yeah, and the best tamales in Texas, they come from somebody that drives around in a van.
Oh, have you ever seen my? I've got a no soliciting sign in front of the house.
Yes,
It says it says on there, and unless you're selling tamales, brisket, or a kids fundraiser, no soliciting.
right. Oh yeah, no, but I mean, there was some really neat things to see up there. One of them, I mean, of course, this is it's considered to be more of a modern, style of building. It's the Aon Center. Originally, it was built by Standard Oil, or Standard Oil built it because to be their headquarters up there.
Yep.
And he wanted it to be one of the more magnificent structures there in Chicago, as far as what he was putting into it, and decided, what, I'm going to use the most expensive stone I can get my hands on to clad this entire building, and it's 92 stories tall. And to use Carrara marble.
Of course.
Oh yeah, until the Carrara marble didn't work. The slabs that they had used were too thin, and not enough forethought had been put into how that they were going to be attached to the building, and that through changes in weather and whatnot, they started to peel off of the building.
Ooh.
Yeah. So after that, they picked a domestic gray granite, Mount Airy white, out of North Carolina, and they reclad the entire building in that, just because as an appearance, it still appears whitish. So still worked. And it only cost them $1 million to do it.
I wonder what that is by today's numbers.
Well, $1 million per floor.
Per floor. Okay.
Yeah.
At 92 floors.
That's correct. It nearly cost more for that than what the overall construction of the building was.
Yeah.
I
tell you though, Rockefeller was brilliant. That was one of those guys. If you ever have time and you want to do research and learn about somebody in business, Rockefeller was ahead of his time. I typically will refer to myself as petty. No, you can't be as petty as he is. Or was he had the reason we have oil tankers is because he got tired of paying the shipping companies. So them gouging them. So he decided to create his own shipping tank, his own tanker.
Mm-hmm. And like, one thing that was neat about going around Chicago was, especially, looking at the architecture, seeing a bunch of these buildings, and you're seeing things that were designed by people that obviously are way, they precede us by a long, long time. But a lot of that was built whenever people actually cared about how something looked.
Yeah. And you see that. I mean, since we're monument guys, I think it's Graceland Cemetery that's up there in Chicago. Mm-hmm. That is like the premier cemetery to go visit. And it's phenomenal stuff. That's been out there for years and years and years. And that's full of some stuff from Bert Gast and from the Trusts and all those guys that we kind of looked at and go, man, these were the guys who were creating things that we couldn't even fathom. So yeah, the design out there is phenomenal, next to none.
Oh yeah,
You see the kidney bean?
I
Is that what it's
did.
called?
Um,
Kidney bean? Or
it's actually called Cloud Gate, but everybody, even people in Chicago, refer to it as the Bean.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a bean.
I have no idea what its purpose is, but it's cool.
Well, I think it's perfect. His purpose was solved by you going over there and taking a picture next to it.
They got me. Yeah. And of course, everybody, you see everybody, they take the exact same picture. Everybody's like, oh, let's take a picture next to it. Oh, look, we can take a picture of our reflection looking at it. And so everybody's up there just doing the same thing.
It's
this big round robin.
I'm a little worried about that on our next. Emily and I are going to Italy in September, and I'm like, I don't want to be that guy.
I know what I know what you're gonna do.
We're gonna go to the Trevanti Fountain, but I don't want to take a picture. Look, there's plenty of pictures online. I'd rather sit there and look at it, But no, I'm sure we're gonna take a selfie.
Well, it's like whenever you see people videoing a fireworks display. Like, are you really gonna go back and watch that? Like, let's live in the moment a little bit.
Or the concert, right?
Right.
I can and there's certain things that I do understand. If you're at a sporting event and you know that something historic's fixing to happen.
Oh, definitely.
I can buy into that one. Okay. Heck,
I do see the other side of it though. That why did you pay money to go there to witness that event through a screen?
True.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't have a lot of room to talk.
I don't have room to talk at all.
When the Bush train came through, it came right in front of the funeral train. It came right in front of our shop because the tracks are. In fact, we've had the podcast already, and you heard the train on here. The tracks are literally across the street. If I had a good enough arm, I could probably hit the train.
You go out there and put pennies on the track, don't you?
I did not. I did because I didn't think about it soon enough. But we had the truck set up out front and flags flying, and all the kids stood up on the bed of the truck while we did that. But every one of us was recording the train go by.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
yeah, you never know. You might be that one individual that captures that one moment that nobody else has, and then your video is worth something.
I'm not worried about that.
Oh,
I'm not, but I'm also not the guy who cares about autographs. I'd rather have the memory. The autograph, I've got a couple of them or whatever, but they mean nothing to me more than any. It's a memory. So I'm not the one that gets excited about them.
I'm 50-50 on it.
What else did you see while you're up there?
Oh man, that is one thing. Chicago, there is. If you're gonna go, budget yourself quite a bit of time. I mean, between the museums they have up there, of course, the aquarium. I mean, there is no shortage of anything to do, and especially even if you have your kids with you. My kids had an absolute blast up there. I would definitely recommend, if you've never seen Chicago, go see it.
Yeah,
and of course, me being a monument guy, I'm walking around like taking pictures and looking at other things that nobody else cares about. Like, there's this like kind of one mall type building that's built into one of the high rises there. And I'm going down this escalator and I'm looking at this water feature that runs right next to the escalator all the way down. And I'm like,
okay.
Ooh, this thing's made out of blue pearl. This is all blue pearl. And just start taking pictures of how it's constructed. And my wife's just looking at me going, nobody else does this.
I do. Megan, if you're listening, he's not alone.
Yeah, but I'm, one of the great things is going out there, and it was, seeing the architecture, just not to see it for what it is, but to try to glean some ideas from that I can bring back and incorporate here.
Yep.
Another cool building I saw was the Tribune Tower. That one, it is where, I don't know if the office is still there or if this is what it was built for, but it's where the offices of the Chicago Tribune were located, whatever. But it's I mean, it's a beautiful building. The base of it, almost 2/3 of the way up, is a kind of modern style building. Not much character to it, but then all of a sudden at the top is this big neo Gothic top with flying buttresses. I mean, that that was pretty cool to see. And down at street level on the perimeter of the building, whenever they built this, they collected pieces of stone from all over the world from notable places. Like there's a stone from the Great Wall of China in there. There's a piece of the Roman Colosseum. Uh, there is even a piece of the Alamo there.
I think I saw you post something about that. And I was trying to figure out what that picture. I don't read the post. I don't really care. I just saw the picture. So I saw the picture, and I was trying to figure out what that was. So that's what it was. It's in the wall.
Yeah, embedded into the wall. And
so that it's a piece from the Alamo.
Correct. Now, where it came from in the Alamo, I don't know.
Right.
But, me as a Texan, I'm sitting there thinking, should I chisel this out and return it?
So I'm going to look because I'm curious when this building was built. I don't know if you know,
it was built. It was completed in 25.
Okay, so that it postdates this, but there's actually a connection between Chicago and San Antonio, the Alamo. And I don't know if you know this or not.
Oh, detail.
And it actually connects to the monument industry.
Okay.
So, there's a gentleman by the name of Frank Teak.
Oh yeah.
So Frank was a German sculptor, and he was a German stonecutter. I don't remember where he came from, but born in the middle of the 1800s.
From Germany.
And
yeah.
from Germany, and then came to the States. He worked under some guys, and I don't really remember who, but he had he moved originally to Illinois, like in that area that of like Michigan and was around Wisconsin area. He'd go into Missouri, stuff like that. So one of the first things he worked on, or that he's contributed for working on in 1879, was the Cook County Courthouse.
Okay.
And so he worked on that for a little while, and then a few years later, in 1883, he was in Texas, and he started working on projects in San Antonio, and ended up with different projects around Texas, and worked under a guy named Gustav Wilk or something like that. And he was inspecting granite for the Capitol building, which all that had come out of Marble Falls.
Mm-hmm.
And
that building is larger than the Capitol building in DC.
Absolutely, and we will remind you that every time.
Everything's bigger in Texas and better.
Just like the San Jacinto Monument's taller than the Washington Monument.
It is.
So he ends up working on he works on the Capitol building, but then he ends up opening up his own shop across the street from the Alamo. So when I say it's what was the Medical Arts building, and last time I was there, I went there because I was trying to figure out which building this was. And excuse me, the building is, if you're standing across the street from the Alamo, where Ripley's is,
yep,
and you're looking at the Mission. Okay, and for those of y'all who've been there but don't know what I'm talking about, I'm referring to the actual church, not the walls. The whole thing is essentially the Mission. But if you're looking towards the Mission, to your left, there's an intersection and a light, and the wall goes down that way. And if you take the turn there at the wall and you follow the wall, across the street from that is the Medical Arts building. That would have been where his shop was.
Oh, sweet.
So here's where this becomes kind of a interesting connection. So Frank Teak worked on Cook County Courthouse, and his shop was across the street from the Alamo. Remember, in the 1800s, the Alamo was just a building. Okay, so it wasn't like the Alamo like we know it. I mean, yes, there was a huge battle there, but in 1883 or 1880s, right when he's there, um, that that would have been 50 years after, depending upon what year it was, about 50 years after the Battle of the Republic. So it would have been, I think, at one point in time, it was just a storage building. It had been a general store. It had been a bunch of different things. Okay, so the walls had kind of periodically come down and they would come back up or whatever. So it very well could have been that. Let's hypothetically say that that stone came from Frank and
Ooh.
was given up that way because he was there when the walls came, right? So parts of the walls may have come down, and that's how that stone got there. I don't know. This postulating, but the monument connection to this is that shop that he had. Frank created things that people are not they have seen, but they don't know are his. Okay, so are you familiar with? There's a statue, and it is called Grief, and
Yes.
it is for a gentleman by the name of Yuri, and it's in a cemetery near Marshall.
Okay.
So that statue is of an angel laying over a pedestal, and she's weeping. Okay, we refer to her as the weeping angel. This isn't the heart angel that we get out of China. This is the one. I hope somebody was thinking that. So,
I've seen a bunch of those heart angels that do have some very Asian facial characteristics.
yeah, that's the one he carved. Yeah. So he carved that. He carved the statue of Sam Houston, and I don't mean the 60-foot tall one in Huntsville. I'm talking about the one that's down there in Houston at Heritage Park, which is where the medical district is and all that. Over there in Herman Park and all that. He carved a angel in Glenwood Cemetery. He's worked on things for San Jacinto battlegrounds and things like that. For us here around here, there's the statue of LaSalle that's in Navasota. I mean, there's pieces all over the place, right? So, okay, here's the next step of this. The person that worked with him that he trained was named Pompeo Copini. Pompeo Copini learned the trade from Frank, and he was an Italian sculptor. And he had ended up, I guess, taking over the shop that was there. My understanding of the story is that Frank ended up moving to Llano, north of Marble Falls, discovered a quarry there and kind of settled that area for a while.
Okay.
Copini worked with Teak on things like the Jefferson Davis statue. He worked on some others, but Copini ended up working on Sam Houston's actual gravestone, which is in Huntsville.
Okay.
He worked on a bunch of different statues around the state capitol, but most notably, he is known for the cenotaph in front of the Alamo.
Okay.
So Copini carved what everybody has seen for many years, which is that cenotaph. I think he worked there in that area until 1920 or something like that, and moved to Chicago. Copini. So, I mean, there's these all kinds of connections between Texas and San Antonio and Chicago, which is rather cool. But the monument portion of this is rather impressive. Even still to this day, there is a school not far from downtown. It's a sculpting school or an art school that bears Copini's name, and it is in San Antonio.
That is cool.
Yeah, I love the history of that stuff. The these are the guys who really kind of set the stage for us and for what our industry is. And uh, you know, you and I are both the Texas guys, and I love that the Texas connection there and what they are. Here's what's really interesting is that Teague's, and I can't remember where Teague is buried, but I looked it up one day, and his, I think it's in Llano, but he passed in 39 or 40,
Mm-hmm.
and he has just a, I don't remember if it's flat or bevel marker, 2x1.
Yeah, something so simple for.
Yeah, and it's just so small, but that's his, and he did some amazing work. In fact, there's one thing, I've kind of periodically collected some historic things. I've got in my collection of little things, I've got a um, set of chisels from Scott Lucan.
Mm-hmm.
I've got his die grinder and a painting of his. There's a gentleman by the name of Gene Schaller, who there's a Schaller Award in AICA, and I have a painting of his.
Okay.
There is one piece that I know exists, and I would love to have it. It's been on something I wanted for a long time. And so the oldest, I don't know if you know this, the oldest monument shop in the state of Texas is on Galveston Island. It's still operating.
Oh wow.
Okay, and it is the Ott Monument Shop in Galveston, and the Otts were good friends with Frank Teague in there, and I haven't seen it. I only have heard stories of this thing. The Otts have in their possession a bust that was carved by Teague.
Oh
It
wow.
has been sitting there for a long time, and it's one of those things you go. I'd hate for something like that to get lost and generational and get forgotten or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's just something so cool to have. But no, that's a long story or short story long, I guess. A tangent of the Texas connection of with Chicago. But I think really more than anything, it's the monumental history and well, here you and I talked about maybe trying to do segments like this as time goes and doing these little historical pieces, and this will be the start of it.
Mm-hmm.
This is Monumental History Part 1. How's that?
Right. Do you think back then, guys like Capini and Teague, do you think that they had like a periodical that they were subscribed to that was for monument builders? And every now and then one of them could submit a picture. Of course, it'd have to go to print and, distribute it. And you might open it up to a page and it's a picture of a dogwood or a wild rose. And it says, does anybody have this design? Or what font am I looking at? Which back then the correct answer to all of them is that's hand cut.
Does anybody know where I can find this scene?
Right.
And that's all of our shows anymore whatsoever. We're done because
Right.
that was a different breed, man.
Oh gosh, yes.
I saw one earlier. It was like, hey, does anybody have this? And I go, well, I've got that tree and that couple and those mountains. There's three separate files.
Yeah, it's just all stitched together.
And I look, whoever that was, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to call you out.
No.
But it's not because I'm trying to, but just across the board. I think it's not because people are ill-meaning. I will say that 100%. Do not believe that people are ill-meaning. But I will say that we're all busy. Man, you and I try to find time to do this often, and it's sometimes tough. But man, I don't have time to stop the 15 drawings that are on my desk to find the font for somebody, and I don't mean that to be rude.
Right.
But if I know it offhand, then I'll try to answer. But I can't go find the files for you. But truthfully, I'd much rather it be my own file. And I don't mean like I own the file and you don't.
Mhm.
I mean, like, I have this file. This family wants this file that somebody else is writing. We did this actually this week, guy down the road, and I reached out to him. Is this yours? And he said yes. He said I'll send it to you. I said, no. Guy down the road's great guy, solid Christian dude. We maintain a friendship, and he is as honest as they can be. And I did my own thing, not um, because I don't like him, or I'm trying not to steal his stuff, or because I think his stuff is garbage because I don't, but because if you're coming to me, I want you to have my stuff.
Mhm.
And I want it to be mine and not somebody else's, because then they just need to go over there and buy it from them. If that's what they want. Then we start talking about getting into, now we're just price shopping and not selling something that means something.
Mhm.
So that's where I really, when the rubber meets the road for me, you can get mad at me and hate me and all this stuff, but where the rubber meets the road for me, that's where my issue comes up, is that I want what I'm doing to be different for the families I'm serving.
Correct.
And have some meaning. That's it. Soapbox over, I guess.
Mhm.
But
We do have the soapbox, so
that is it. So no, I think those guys are on a different level. I really do think.
They forgot more about what we do than we'll ever know.
We still, and I'm worried about that now. As some of the generation that taught me, and you are getting older. I don't have enough time to sit down and talk to some of these guys. I still, one of my favorite meals I've ever had was sitting down with Jim Gaston, New Orleans at breakfast.
Mhm.
Wasn't anything spectacular. We didn't talk about anything earth shattering, but just talked about rocks and different things. And in fact, I understand that Bobby Schlitzberger is going to be at least for the dinner portion of the convention coming up. Being able to see him and that kind of stuff, but being able to pick his brain whenever I can, that's so valuable.
Mhm.
And these old guys will tell us, the stuff they know. The best part is, if you really want to get somebody riled up and hear about stuff, is right now I can do this where I show you in real time how this works. And what you do is you mention the name. Are you ready for this? If you mention the name Jeffrey Davis Pace, and you mention that he is one of the old guys in the old guard, see, now I can guarantee you that I'm going to get a phone call as soon as this goes live.
Right.
So, and it's going to be, Watson, you said I'm old. I'm going to have to remind him that if the shoe fits.
Ooh, that's fired.
No, I like Dave Pace.
Yeah.
He knows that. I think he's the epitome of loud Mississippi. But yeah, he's a good guy.
Oh yeah.
So, but what I want to talk about today, I know that now we're like 45 minutes into this. I think I don't know how far we are, but
right.
What I want to talk about, and you and I had kind of hit on this, is the customers and people that make what we do worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the reason we get into what we do and why we do it is these particular customers. Right. This kind of came up because the other day you and I are on the phone and we're talking about the people who continue to stop by.
Oh
right?
yes.
What's funny? So we're recording this now. Austin and I talked about this the other day. Let's talk about this. And I told him about my customer. He told me about his customer. No joke. And Austin, you back me up. You tell me if I'm lying. Mine showed up today.
She did. I got a phone introduction from her today.
And I told her that we were just talking about her, and I called Austin, and Austin got to hear it. This lady will come in. She is one of the sweetest ladies ever. Name is Phyllis Rivers, and we did a monument for her. And actually, it's a funny connection, sad story, but she came into me, wanted to do a monument before they got too old, right? She already planned the funeral service, came over to me. The cemetery sent her to me because they felt that I was the only one that could deal with that much crazy. That is literally what they told me. And she knows this story and verifies it happily. And so she comes over and we get to talking and we find about just different things and find out her husband works for NOV. And I said, well, my wife works for NOV. Where does he work? He works at Grant Pride Grove. My wife works at Grant Pride Grove. Who is? So my wife and her husband know each other like well. They're in, they have to communicate about different things what they're working on from time to time. Anyways, we do the monument, and in doing so, we get the stone out there and all that. And it wasn't long after we completed the monument that he retires. He retires, and they decide to go skiing like a month or so after he actually retires. And he goes to pick his bag up off of the luggage check thing, and breaks his shoulder. So goes to get it checked out. Doctor says, you go see a specialist when you get home. Goes home. Turns out he's got terminal cancer.
Oof.
And in fact, I can tell you exactly where I was when he passed because I was one of the first phone calls.
Oh, wow.
I was in Elberton, Georgia at the Athens Convention. And we were doing one of the walk around shop stuff. You remember all that?
Mm-hmm.
And I was in one of them. She calls me just beside herself, and even though she knew it was coming, just wasn't ready. I need the death date done, and I kind of calmed her down and I said, Phyllis, I'm going to take care of you. I promise. You got to trust me. And I said, we're not going to put the death date on there before the service. I said, I don't need everybody there thinking about that one day. They're going to see that date there. And you know how it is. It's hard to kind of gear all that up and get out there. I could have done it, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
Anyways, I get back home and I don't go to funeral services really at all. Not just because funerals suck, but I don't want to be viewed as a vulture because inevitably somebody's going to go, "What do you do for a living?" And then you tell them, you're like, "What are you doing here then?" So, I went to her that service, but ever since, so the better part of the story is that ever since she comes in periodically, probably once a quarter or something like that, and she will bring us chips and dip. She brings us candies she makes, apple butter. If you live in the South, you know how valuable homemade apple butter is. That's crack. So you can put it on anything.
Right.
So yeah, she's been phenomenal. Every time she comes in, she's got a story and a dirty joke. And I mean, she got a dirty joke that'll make the aforementioned Dave Pace blush. Right. So, but I love her to death. But she's one of the reasons why what we do is so worth it. Right? It's, it's those people. And I think you mentioned you have one, right? That's similar. And everybody's got a Phyllis, but you've got your own version.
Oh yeah. Now mine, her name would be this is a Taliotis. She's a Greek woman that lives here. And where we, got pretty close with one another was she was dealing with one of the SCI cemeteries in this area and just was having a hard time with them. And she came to me and I stepped up for her and, made sure that she wasn't being given the runaround. And of course, then she brings her daughters in and it's like the whole Greek family is up in here, and we have a lot of fun together. But ever since then, just randomly, it's not for any special event or anything like that. She shows up with like a whole tray of like Greek baked goods.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh, they're delicious. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And she always wants you to she always wants you to eat one while she's there, you know.
To make sure you're actually eating it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, it's stuff like that. Like we had a gentleman, and he's fortunately he's still alive. But we did his monument, and his name is um, Mr. Peacock. Actually, to be honest, I couldn't even tell you his first name. I did his monument. I put his name on the monument. I can't tell you his first name because we've always called him Mr. Peacock.
Right.
Mr. Peacock is originally from Alabama, and he will let you know it. And
Right.
he is an Alabama fan because he shops at Walmart over there.
There you go.
And so he will come into the office, and he used to come into the office often after we did the monument for him. And he, especially like right after A&M would play Bama, and he would, he'd come in the week before and the week after and harass us. And just such a great guy. In fact, to the point where he brought me a Yeti cup with the Alabama sticker on it and my name on the other side. And I died laughing. I said, I can't keep this, right? I did. I think I may have pulled the A off of it.
Right.
But you know how to tell the difference between Crimson Tide A and the Atlanta Braves A, right?
How's that?
One of them has a mullet. The other one doesn't. Look it up and tell me I'm wrong.
Well, you're not wrong.
But no, he's such a nice guy. Every once in a while he'll still call, and he's not allowed to drive anymore. I mean, this guy's in his late 90s. But still has a great sense of humor, and he moved out here for work many years ago and never left. And but just such a good man. And I love those things. Of course, you've got to go through some of the hard ones, but I'm very fortunate, very blessed here that we've got so many good customers and so many good people.
Oh yes,
that it makes it worth it. It's not full of just headaches. So those are some of the good ones.
Yeah, and don't let the bad ones outshine the good ones.
No, by any stretch.
I mean, definitely concentrate on the relationships that you have built with customers like that.
Yeah, we've got a lady who does a lot of stuff for the veterans around here, and she's probably one of our biggest cheerleaders. I love her to death. Not because she cheerleads for us; she just does a lot for the veterans, and she's been phenomenal. But I mean, this week alone, I had two or three different people come in upon her recommendation that are all veterans, and fortunately, they all have a good sense of humor because they were two of them were Marines, and I could harass them, and you can tell Wes that I offered them a box of crayons because I was.
There you go. He says his flavor. He said his favorite flavor is purple. Yeah, no, that's any time a veteran walks in, I'm like, Wes, that's you.
Now, I find that a lot of times our veterans will come in, and you know how it is. When guys come in specifically, they tend to be closed off. It's not something they want to talk about because it has potential to show the weak side of who they are and all that kind of thing. So it becomes a tough topic. But if I can break that tension with some humor, I kind of judge out what I think their personality is first, and how they respond to things or whatever before I start picking on them, obviously.
Right.
But if I feel like they're gonna take a good joke, then I'll start picking just to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. And even still, like today, I came back from lunch and Janine had a family in here, and this is I'll keep the details down to a minimum because I do know that this particular scenario has the potential to be volatile for the family. But you could tell that there was some just as tough. It's still very early, and this particular loss is very painful, even for our community. So when this family's in here and Janine's talking to them, and you can tell, you walk into a room and you can tell the room's a little tense.
Right.
So I walk in the room and I feel like I can feel it, and you can kind of hear it in just the voices. And so I immediately go into picking on Janine about stuff, just in front of everybody. And Janine knows that I don't mean it. She's been around me long enough to know that this is not for the intention of embarrassing her or anything to that matter. And she picks back. Right. But we do it for the purpose of lightening the mood. And man, I tell you, it didn't change the conversation and the attitude. You see it flip like that, and becomes something just uniquely different. So, man, it's being able to understand and read that room is huge. But it's been having those good customers that have allowed us to understand how people react, and that come in and you go, man, this is what I want every time. I want these people, and not that I'm gonna get those people, but sometimes I've got to build those relationships, and that is what I've got to focus on. So
yeah, definitely don't treat your customers like a commodity. Treat them as the individuals that they are.
Absolutely. Oh, they've all got a story.
Definitely so. And sometimes they're going to share stories that like you didn't want to hear.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Some of them you're like, man, you're really airing it out, ain't you? But and actually, those stories make for the stories that we tell one another.
That's exactly it. 100%. Yeah. I've got to write this down. We've got one right now where this isn't a secret. There's a monument behind my shop that has 3 names on it. Okay. Mom's son and son's wife. And that is a bit of a misnomer, because it is not mom's son and son's wife. It is mom's mom, or it's mom, son, and son's ex-wife. New wife.
I got one of those I'm working with right now.
Doesn't want the name on there. Can't blame new wife at all. So they said, I don't care how you get the name off there. We want the name off, and we want my name off. And so what I told them is, I said, we can get it several different ways. The way I want to do it is a little bit more expensive, but not because it's more expensive, because what I want to do is I want to knock the panel back. So we're going to basically, luckily it's paneled. I'm going to blow the panel way back. And then, so I get past the name, and then we're going to re-letter it. But then I'm going to do that to all 3 of them, because I don't want it up. Yes, I don't want, I can glue another panel in there, which is fine and works. That's an extra expense that you could tell they didn't necessarily want. But if I can at least get all 3 panels back, then it doesn't look like it doesn't look as much like there was a mistake. I want it to look purposeful. And so that's the intention. So, yeah, that's you get all kinds. It is a fun, interesting thing. There's always great stories.
Oh yeah. That's one thing that's pretty unique about our industry is we cater to them all.
Yeah. Well, so when you sit and talk to people about different people that you've met over the years, and I've mentioned before about the gentleman I did a monument for that was at Pearl Harbor during the invasion. I've done a monument for. Okay, so when you're on the interstate and you exit off the highway, there's the giant barrels that are the crash barrels, right? That they're full of water. You've seen them in movies when a car hits it, water goes everywhere, right? The gentleman who designed those lives here.
Oh, cool.
And we did his monument, and he was still alive when we did it. But just stuff like that. It's you get to meet some of the coolest folks. did a monument for a U2 pilot.
For a
Not
what?
not Bono. A U2 as in the spy plane.
Oh,
Not
I
as
thought
in
I thought you said a YouTube pilot, and I'm like,
yeah.
what?
Oh, not no. The it's different age now.
It is Friday. My brain is fried.
Yeah, a U2 pilot that would fly missions at
I've seen that one that you did.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was really cool. Just to talk to that family about stuff. So, of course, we've all got our headaches, but the cool ones are worth their weight in gold.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I think we've got what, 2? Is it 2 weeks?
Yeah. Next week, and then then we'll be leaving the next week to meet up in the Woodlands.
This weekend is for everybody out there, and you're not getting this because I don't think we may post this tomorrow or whatever. Who knows? This weekend is the free weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Next weekend is Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
So celebrate your fathers by taking them to the Southern Monument Builders Association meeting in the Woodlands.
It would be
something
a very
like that,
meaningful gift. Yes.
So no, Father's Day the next weekend, and then
22nd through the 24th, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And if you're coming from out of town, book your room through the 25th. That way you go to the banquet because you have already paid for it with your money. Come and eat. I don't remember what we're eating. I was on that board meeting. It is important to me to some extent.
Right.
Maybe. But come and eat.
We will have food. We will have food.
We will have food. There will be a happy hour that is usually sponsored. I'm gonna mention it because I don't know if I've got this accurate, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Uh-huh.
I think that happy hour is typically sponsored by the EGA.
Usually is. It's usually called the EGA happy hour.
Yeah. So then come drink on Chris Kubis and Matthew Pruitt and those members that support us with Southern Gray Granite that are going to pay for all your drinks and enjoy yourself, and then have a really nice dinner that night, and we'll do awards and blah 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 blah. So, and I don't know yet if we just finished up the awards this week for the design contest.
Did you already put your name on them?
Was I not supposed to?
This is gonna be awkward.
I'm gonna cut vinyl and I'm gonna put my name on them now. Like, anyways, this one goes to Austin. I'm gonna stand up there peeling the vinyl off of it.
Right.
No, yeah. So that one's we took pictures of them. I think Abby's fixing to post them just to kind of remind everybody to bring your photos and stuff like that. But those are going to be fun, and but it's still, man. Again, I know beating a dead horse, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm beating the dead horse right now because this is the upcoming event. We don't know of the other conventions right now that are coming up. I know there is one following. I guess while I've got everybody on the line, I can sit here and go to this particular website. It says .org at the end of it, and go to this tab that says events. View events calendar, just for the heck of it, and it should pull up events. It doesn't. No, it's functioning funny, or maybe there's just not a lot of events listed. So I believe there is another convention coming up in between. That's in, I don't remember, but it's I think there's one coming up in December that I thought might be interesting to go to, and I don't remember who that was. But then there's the national show in February of next year in San Diego. Or also known as Tijuana.
Oh, I thought you was about to do the Anchorman.
We can do that.
Well, what does the translation for San Diego? The whales,
So
I'm looking at another association's page, and I'm not going to name them, but just trying to see about any of their upcoming seminars or conventions, and a lot of information on the 2020 convention.
Yeah. Well, and so I know that the got to be up to date, right? That's got to be accurate information. At least they know that information is accurate, correct?
It is. Yes, it is there.
But so no, come check out SMBA. That show's gonna be great. I think there's a few rooms available. Look, if you can't get a room, there's a hotel down the street. I grew up in that area. There's not bad hotels in that area. You're gonna be fine, and it's a short drive.
I find a nice La Quinta.
Yep, and you can no joke. There is a La Quinta within 10-minute drive.
There you go.
Of the hotel, and there is a Denny's in the parking lot.
Get you the Grand Slam.
Yep, get the Grand Slam. And if you want to go to Waffle House, it's only a 20-minute drive north of that. I think maybe a little further than that. But so no, come on out, check it out. It's gonna be good. I promise. Now we've got the next one we are going to do at the convention. The next podcast we'll do at the convention, and then I promise to all of y'all that we will stop talking about that SMBA convention, and we will start talking about the next SMBA convention. No, we'll find something else to talk about.
Right.
But that'll be a good one.
And just in case anybody doesn't know, coming up in 2 weeks. Oh, the SMBA convention. It's coming up.
Man, hey, tell me more.
Oh yeah, it's June 22nd through the 24th. We're gonna have golf. We're gonna have.
I swear this sounds like an infomercial. Like it's late at night. That's what's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna listen to the podcast. It's 1 a.m. They can't fall asleep. And this is my son or my daughter right now. They're listening to the podcast. They can't fall asleep. And this is their version of if you act now, we'll throw in this other CD full of songs from the 80s.
And it's just a total rehash of what you just bought.
No, it's a different album cover.
That's true. That is true.
So
yeah, no, I think that wraps it up for this one.
I think so. So until I see you in the Woodlands.
Yep.
And
wait, is there something coming up?
Hey, hold on. There's a horse running by. I need to go beat this thing to death and then beat it again.
It's gonna beat it into a big old greasy spot in the ground by the end.
This is the one where we're gonna look back on these numbers. And for those of y'all who don't know, we know where you're watching from. I can see it. You can't hide from me. So,
it turns your camera on when you listen to
it. We're gonna look at the numbers on this one and go, there's a reason why nobody listened to this. There's a reason why the numbers declined. They listened to the last one. Last one actually turned out really well.
This one was a good performer.
Yeah, this one they're going to go no because the whole thing is going to be about a convention.
What convention?
Huh? Oh, the Southern Monument Builders Convention is good.
That's right, folks. You heard it. Southern Monument Builders Convention coming up in 2 weeks in the Woodlands.
If you're curious, there may have been beer involved.
Possibly so. Neither can confirm nor deny.
So, all right. With that, we will leave it with just.
Oh, there you go.
Can we leave it? That works. And I will leave you with good night, Go Stros.
Oh, come on. Hey, who's first in the West, right? Or in the West right now?
You didn't even remember where they're at?
No, I'm waiting for the answer. Who's first in the West?
I know who they are, and they haven't gotten past the hump yet. It is only June. They still have plenty of time to trip. We got the short guy back.
Is he back now?
Mighty Mouse is back.
I do have him on my fantasy team, by the way.
Well, and you're finally getting points then.
He's been okay, but he's been out for. Of course, he missed a good part of the season.
Yes, and the Skeeters down there in Sugarland would love to have him. So, all right. Well, we'll check out on that. Y'all have a good one until we see y'all next time.
All right. Have a good one.